Yeah, I'm back. I haven't set up a schedule for when I go live, so I just kind of pop up here and pop up there. I've got a project that I have set aside for quite some time, and I've got some free time before I have to go to work. I'm working late shifts. I do 4 hour shifts, and of recent, they've got me from 6 p.m. till 10 p.m. And here it is, about 1:30, 2 o'clock. I got some time. I want to work on this, and you can watch over my shoulder and watch me putz around. Um, I've got an inkling to do some more fairy village type stuff, and I've got a huge piece here I want to show you. See this monster? Let me stand it up. If it'll stand, maybe it won't even stand. Eventually, it's going to stand. I'm picturing an entire village kind of like hanging on the side of a cliff, because I can do right up in here rocks and make it look like a cliff, like they're cliff dwellers. And I've drawn a little bit with a Sharpie, kind of stairs, and I'm gonna get up in there with the fine burrs that they just put out from Cutzel, and I'm gonna do some detail work. Not sure what I'm gonna do on the back, but look at how massive this piece is. It has some serious potential. And I think it's sycamore, which is lends itself quite well to carving. It has a certain amount of hardness to it, yet it gives really well, and it takes a knife and a Dremel quite nicely. Look at that. I'm going to do right up in there. Get a little door. Hell yeah. In fact, I think I'm going to work on that right there. Bear with me a moment. It's going to be a bumpy ride. I'm going to put you in the little cradle so you can look over my shoulders while I carve. And if you come in, please hit the like button. That would be wonderful. I've got these here. I'm going to do this probably mostly with these because they're detail burrs, and I can get up in there and get detailed. I'm working with a couple of different Dremels. I have a Dremel 4300 with a flex shaft. I also have a Dremel 4000 with a flex shaft. And going to be kind of popping from one to the other. And I've got a couple of other smaller old school Dremels that I may pull to do a little bit of work with. And they are, I've got a old school Dremel 245. I've also got an old school Dremel model 395 Type 5. And I'm going to be bebopping back and forth using these different tools. And I might even use this one here, which is the Cutzel Extreme Flame Burr, most everybody's favorite. But I don't know that I'm going to be using that right off the bat, because I'm going to get up in here and do some detail work. So we'll get that guy off of there. Put him over here. And replace him with this little detail burr out of this kit here. I'm going to use the sphere on my Dremel 4000 with the flex shaft. And I'm kind of out of picture here, aren't I? You're not seeing what I'm doing. How about I do this? You're still not seeing. Okay. How about like that? It's a little better. Okay. So that, you see that? The detail burr with a sphere. Anyway, that one is going to go on my Dremel 4000. This one here is the detail, what do they call this one? They call this one a, I don't know. What do they call it, dagnammit? I guess they call that one the taper. You see that? There we go. I'm putting it on my Dremel 4300 with the flex shaft. And I'm looking through this lens like you're seeing, and I'm not pleased with the placement, so after I get this on here, I'm gonna adjust it so we can see pretty well. There we go. Put that over there. Okay, how we coming here? I want to be able to work right about like that. And you're not seeing it correctly, so let's go here. If I can work in here, kind of turn it maybe. Oh, it's so big it's gonna be a pain in the ass. Shucks. Does that come out a little more? I apologize, I really don't know how to use this flipping thing, but I want you to come along for the ride, so we'll give it a best shot. Okay, I'm going to start with the, I'm just going to do, and if you guys can see, great. If you can't, I'm sorry. Let's see here. I'm going to kind of put this underneath as a wedge, because this sucker's big, man. It's big, I tell you, big. How's that? Okay. I also have a, God, you know, hold on a second. I am just not pleased with how this is working. Okay, I can go in. Can I go out a little bit? Not really, huh? That's in. Come out wherever you are. I'm just not pleased with that. Should have got this figured out before I started filming. I apologize. It's just not doing what I want it to do, dagnammit. How about that? No. How about, oh, okay, we're going to work right here, and it's in the middle of the screen. Hello. We got the OK sign. Okay, I'm going to turn on my Rycon air filtration system. It's going to get kind of loud. I'm also going to turn on my Dremel, and I'm definitely going to put on my mask and proceed accordingly. If you're in here, please hit the like button. I'm not going to be watching the comments, so talk amongst yourselves. In fact, I can't even hardly see who's in here. Let me see if I can, though. Oh, Grumpy! How you doing, Grump? I'm not used to doing this, so bear with me. You can talk to me on the side when I'm done. Oh, my God. Anyway, I'm going to do some Fairy Village work.
I don't know about you, but I think I could walk on those staircases. Gonna make me a window. I've got an awful lot of work to do on this great big old huge thing. But I certainly appreciate you guys coming along and sitting with me while I play with it a little bit. I'm gonna move this and sucker's heavy, man. Okay, I'm gonna play right in here for a minute. I haven't been able to keep track of any kind of conversation. In fact, even looking to see who's in here is a little bit tough. I hear or I see Grumpy talking something about Sophie, but right where everybody's doing their you know what, let me pull this off for a minute so I can talk to y'all. Okay, yeah, we got Grumpy in here, we got Under the Bark. Hi guys. Hey, certainly appreciate you coming in. I'm not doing much talking because I'm just carving, and I want to register a few lives on my channel. So I apologize, but I do see we got Grumpy and we got Under the Bark. There may be more in here, but I'm not really seeing. Let's see who else. Oh, Gojo. I'm not sure who that is, but welcome. Thank you guys for coming. Totally appreciate it. Do a share if you like. That'd be awesome. Definitely hit my like. You know, I try to drop in on people when they go live. I have a lot of free time because I only work 4-hour shifts, but I do my best to try to spread myself around the community so they know who I am. And dude, if you do any 420, talk to Grumpy. Made him a bitchin' pipe. He'll tell you all about it. I can get you one. Just let me know. If you drop a comment into this particular live, I probably won't be able to see it, but you can go into one of my other videos and give me a message that way. You can also reach me by email at rymerpt63@gmail.com. I will answer an email if you want to talk a little bit. Connect with me on Facebook, and I'll talk to you all the time in the messenger. But anyway, let me get back to this. I'm gonna hit on this and this, play with that a little bit, and after that I'm probably gonna bow out. But it's been a joy, guys. Okay, here goes.
It looks like all of that right in there is rotted. I hit that and it's like poop. And then right here, it's solid. But all the white stuff is rotted. Oh shit. I went clear through. Oh man. Wow. Okay. It's not really gonna make a difference, but shit. I went clear through. Ah, damn it.
You know, I'm finding that most of this is, well, not most of it, but an awful lot of this is rotted. And I'm kind of tempted to chisel away at that and bring out the wood that's underneath it like an archaeologist, because I know that the wood itself that's solid is really beautiful wood and would polish up and have a real nice grain to it. So as I'm chipping away and trying to make these little doors and windows and staircases and so forth, but I'm hitting this white stuff, and it's toast, man. So I'm really tempted to just go all over this piece and reveal the inner soul of it and then carve it. I don't know what to do here, but you know what? It's been a decent ride here. Are you still in here, Grumpy? I think we're about done, brother. This is Robert C. Peters, Rymerpt PT, also known as Peter's Piper. I'm going to end this live. Oh, there he is, Grumpy. Hey, I'm going to let this go and come up into my my messages. I need to talk to you about trying to figure out how to publish these damn lives. It's tricky, and I can't figure out how to let go of it and make it published. I'll see you here in a minute. I'm gonna bow out of this live.